Hi, thank you for clicking on the video. As you can see, we'll be discussing the movie The Preacher's Kid today. As per usual, if you don't like spoilers and you've never seen the movie before, you should jump off here, go watch it, and then come back. If you don't care, then we move on. So, this movie is about a girl who grew up in a church, and her father is a preacher, obviously, hence the name of the movie. And she's just tired of her life. Like, it's the same old, and she's bored of it. She wants to experience life, and she ends up meeting a well-known musician who just so happens to be in a play, and she ends up following him to across the lands on this play, and he just wasn't good for her. And then it turns around and she just ends up going back home anyways. So, she realized that it really wasn't worth it trying to discover life. But that's the thing. I don't have that much to say about this movie, but I do have some things to say. Okay, and the first thing I want to talk about is something that happens at the very beginning of the movie, in like the opening scene. Like, everybody is going into church, and this one young woman, she barely has any makeup on, mind you. This old woman gonna tell her, "How dare you have that all on your face?" and takes a napkin, put her spit on it, and then wipe her face. The way I would have turned around and never came back to that church, because how dare you put your spit on my face? I don't give a fuck if I knew you since I was a little girl. Don't put your spit on my face. I don't even let my own mama do no shit like that. Why would your old ass think that's okay? No, they be disrespectful. And I can't stand, like, church folk like that. It's a lot of church people like that, especially the older ones, who be acting so holier than thou, like they don't got a past, and like they don't be doing fuck shit in their presence, So it's just so annoying. That scene, I always get so frustrated when I see it, because it's like, that is so nasty. The fact that you would do something like that, disrespectful, like, no, I would never came back to that church. But yeah, now Angie is the lead singer of the choir or something like that, and she loves singing, but she is tired of constantly like singing for the Lord, I guess. I don't know. Like, her whole argument to her father was she's gonna go on this play and it's just like church. It was not like church. Like, the only reason you want to go on the play, like go toward for the play anyways, is because you want to follow up behind Devlin trifling ass. This is my issue. This could have been avoided if her father hadn't coddled her so much. She is grown as hell. I believe they say her age at some point, but she's between the age of like 23 and 25. Like, there was no reason for him to constantly be like, this is the thing, because when you go back to the day, back in the day, right, there was a point when you were considered a child all the way up until you was like 25. So you would really like listen to your parents and stuff, but even back then you would be able to experience life to a certain extent. Like, in the age that this movie came out, I want to say like between 2009 and 2013. Like, it's a new age, right? Like, your child should not be that fucking coddled and not have no life experience. She is sneaking out as a grown woman and lying about her whereabouts to go to a club and go to a play. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. There is no need for her as a 23, 25-year-old, like, to be sneaking out of her house because she worried about what her dad is going to say. Like, the fact that he coddled her that much, he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And they never really give context of when her mother dies, but I'm gonna assume that she died when she was quite young or something, because, like, why would you, like, is you just as bad as him? Like, or like, what? Like, y'all, or what the fuck is going on? Because he could have avoided this. He thought he was protecting her, but you're really making the situation worse, because she is expressing that she's frustrated with how her life is going, and instead you're just like, but God says this, God says that. Right now she probably wants to just speak to her father, and if he had had moments where he was just being her father rather than being a pastor, then she probably wouldn't have felt the need to go off. Like, even later on down the line in one of the scenes, like, when she's telling Devlin off, she goes into, expressing the things she believes because of what her father told her, and he believed in her in a more positive light, right? And he Devlin tried to make her feel very low about herself, the way abusive men be trying to be. And that's the thing, you didn't have enough moments of just being her father, because clearly she took the lessons that he was giving her and, was establishing them in her life. For instance, when she does first go out with Devlin, he wants her to drink wine, and she's like, oh, I shouldn't drink liquor. My father says this, my father says that, and again, like, Devlin convinces her that you should drink it because God turned water into wine, and you should do it because you're grown or something like that. Like, he always had a reasoning of why she should go against the things that her father taught her, but most of the things that she did say about him were church related and Bible related, and I think it's unfortunate that he was not really giving her the nourishment as a young woman who is being raised by her father should have had in a situation. Like, she clearly doesn't feel comfortable speaking with you, and to the point where she allowed herself to even be placed in a situation like that. Now, her friend, what's her name? I think it was Marcia. She wanted Angie to be able to expand her life, right? And to be able to experience something different. She was actually rooting for her when she did go off to do the play. But, this is my thing, right? Because her mom, Marcia's mom, was just as bad as Angie's dad. The issue with this is, like, they both was acting like little ass kids. You see, and the sad part is, because they best friends, so I'm sure they was happy that their parents got together, especially considering they probably got to the point where they like, well, Angie definitely had to get to the point where, like, I'm grown as hell, I'm not about to be coming back here letting you treat me like a child. So I assume that Marcia also got to that point. I think it's ridiculous that they get to be sisters, but at the same time their parents are both just okay with treating their kids, their grown adult kids, like they're small ass children. Because the fact that Marcia also was sneaking in from the play, they just went to the play this particular night, and she also had to sneak out and sneak, or she was sneaking back in. I don't know if she necessarily snuck out, but she definitely had to sneak back in because she was out too late. And then her mama had the nerve to call her a whore, basically. She said it ain't nothing open this late besides liquor stores and legs. They was at a diner. That's the crazy part. So clearly diners are also open that late. Fucked up. Like, they was so messed up. Also, so Desiree character, she was the lead singer in the play. Like, she had beef. She had beef with Angie immediately for no reason. Like, mind you, Devlin knew that he was messing around with her. So why you bring Angie onto this bus? It got her, she don't know. She just excited and she got a crush on you and she think you like her too. She not used to having women like be so short with her and be so attitudey with her, because she not used to this side of life. She used to just, everybody pretend to be nice to each other because she always in church. But the fact that she felt the need, and this is my thing, I feel like she probably could feel that energy from Angie, like she's there and she has the potential to actually make an impact, right? Because even though when she first shows up, on the bus and being a part of the play, she's very small and simple in that moment, but you can feel when someone has the potential to do something that you are also doing, or do something great with themselves, even if they haven't realized that potential within themselves. And I think that's what it really was. She like, oh, you trying to get my man and my spy, you got me fucked up, back up. But I like that she was able to turn herself around and like ended up actually being quite kind. And it was a pivotal moment for Angie when she was like, okay, let me help you out, let me get you ready, and you're going to sing this part. I actually like that she was able to be like that big sister thing, like role for her in that moment. I love that she was like, hey, I ain't fucking with Devlin either. Like, I'm finna get mine. You got me fucked up. You got Angie fucked up. We finna both get away from your ass, Now, speaking of, people who got away and stuff like that, Angie was finna let the one guy that she definitely should have been with get away from her, which is Winston. He liked her so much. He had such a big crush on her, and he ain't hide it, and she just was pretending like she didn't notice. This is the thing, I think Angie did like him too. Like, they had their little flirty moment, and she was acting like she didn't know that he liked her, but I think she just didn't want to admit to herself that she liked him as well, because she was kind of sick of that environment already. And he was one of those church boys, the good church boys, and that's just not what she wanted in that moment. Even though he would have been good for her, she was just sick of it all. And all that would have done, being with him in that moment, would have just made her have to constantly stay in that. And it took her having to be with Devlin and him treating her so bad to realize, what, nah, I'm good on this. I actually do want the good guy. You know what I mean? This is my thing, because there was a point where after Angie left, and he like the choir director, I think, and so he's trying to get the new girl to sing the lead. This scene pisses me off because she clearly was not singing with her full voice. She was holding back, and he like, hey, I need you to actually sing the song. She like, no, you want me to sing it like Angie, and I ain't her. He didn't ask you to sing it like Angie. He said, can you sing the damn song the way it needs to be sung? And she was on some bullshit, because later on we see her singing the song how it needed to be sung, and he had no problems with it. He like, yes, that's how I needed you to sing when you cussed me out the other week. Like, all he asked was you put your power behind your voice. And like, you clearly was not doing that, because when we see you actually using your voice, that shit is moving, is powerful, is big, is loud. You were scared to sing, and then you tried to project onto him, because yes, he is upset that Angie is gone, because he had a crush on her and she was the lead singer. But he needs someone to step up as the lead singer. And if you have the voice, but you're not using it, and instead of just taking the fucking advice and being like, okay, I'll work on my confidence, you decide to snap at him. Fuck you. That moment is so irritating. Like, you ain't have to snap at him at all. And the fact that he just allowed it, just like, maybe she right, maybe I'm just talking to her like this because no, you're not. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing as the fucking choir director. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is Devlin. Okay, so clearly him and his little buddy is, used to treating women like crap, and they get a kick out of it. Everything goes bad for him. Good. But it's the fact that the other dude, the light-skinned dude, he wanted them to teach him their ways. You should not want to learn that shit, sir. Like, they're talking about trading women off, and I find that to be so disgusting. It's the fact that men actually be doing that shit. I feel like women do it too these days as well, but it's a disgusting thing. You should not want to sleep with someone that your friend or family member has slept with, because if you know how that stuff works, technically you are also sleeping with that it's a whole disgusting mess, and I disapprove of it, and I thought that shit was so stupid, and they just sitting there like, oh yeah, you can learn from us. No, baby, run from these men. They are not good men. Like, run from them. Don't learn shit from them. They ain't gonna be able to help you in any way, shape, or fucking form. Yeah, but that's pretty much all that I have to say. I don't have much to say about Devin because I think, you know, it was a pretty obvious plot line. He was a piece of shit. But if you made it this far, I truly appreciate it. Why don't you go ahead and tell me what was one of your favorite songs in the movie? With that being said, until next time, bye.